Let's talk about something I know drives people crazy. Pouring time, money, effort into Facebook ads.
Yeah.
And then nothing. Just crickets. Or maybe even worse, you hit publish and boom, it's flagged, just approved.
Instantly, yeah.
It feels like you're just shouting into a black hole, hitting this massive wall. It's super frustrating. And I hear this all the time. So you're definitely not alone if you feel that way.
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of the reality of advertising on a platform like Facebook these days, isn't it?
Seems like it.
I mean, the sheer amount of stuff out there means you have to be so precise, not just with who you're showing the ad to, the targeting,
right,
but with the actual words you use, the message.
Yeah.
And then layered on top, you've got Facebook's rules, their policies, which are, let's be honest, complex and always seem to be changing.
It feels less like marketing sometimes and more like, I don't know, trying to solve some kind of puzzle in the dark.
A riddle inside a maze. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Exactly. And that maze, that puzzle, that's what we're really diving into today. We took all those sources you shared, the articles, the data, your observations, and we're doing a proper deep dive, specifically into Facebook ad copywriting. We want to unpack why ads might not be converting, shine a big light on why they get flagged, and honestly, talk about why the specific words you choose might just be the most critical piece on Facebook right now.
Yeah, and our goal here really is to give you a shortcut through all that noise. We're going to pull out from these sources the techniques that actually work, stuff that's proven to grab attention, get people clicking, and we'll definitely tackle those compliance rules, the tricky ones, including... yes, those sort of infamous banned or trigger words that people report, get them, shadow banned or just flat out rejected.
Yes, the secret list.
Yeah.
Or not so secret list.
Kind of. And we'll talk about how smart testing is really the only way you can figure out what works and optimize your results.
So think of this as us trying to cut through the confusion. We want to help you understand how this Facebook ad puzzle actually fits together so you can write copy that works with the platform, with the algorithm.
Right, not fighting against it.
Yeah, exactly. So your message gets seen, it connects, and people actually do something.
Okay, so let's unpack this first part, why this matters so much. Because the sources, they paint a really clear picture of the challenge here. Facebook gives you amazing targeting tools, right? You can zero in on demographics, interests.
Incredibly specific sometimes.
But just reaching the right eyeballs doesn't guarantee success. Not even close. The data we looked at is pretty sobering. One survey mentioned about 25% of ad accounts. They see conversion rates under 1%.
Wow. Under 1%. That's basically setting money on fire for a quarter of advertisers.
Pretty much. And the vast majority, they're sitting somewhere in that 2 to 4% range, which is okay, but not amazing.
So getting into that top group, I think the sources said the top 10% might hit over, 11% conversion rates?
Yeah, 11.45% or even higher in some cases. But getting there, it takes more than just good targeting.
It's got to be the words.
Precisely. Across all the sources, this is the common thread. Good copywriting is the single biggest lever you can pull to move from an ignored ad to one that actually works.
Why is it so fundamental, though?
Well, think about it. Your copy, usually the headline first, is the very first thing someone sees in their feed. And that feed is crowded, right? It's noisy.
It's insanely crowded.
So that copy is your one shot, your immediate chance to make them pause their thumb, to stop the scroll.
It's not just about saying, hey, buy my thing, is it?
Not at all. It has to connect deeper. Engaging copy, the kind that works, it creates an emotional response. It might be excitement or curiosity, maybe relief, because you're solving a problem they have.
Ah, that emotional hook.
Exactly. That's what grabs attention and actually motivates someone to click, to learn more, to take action.
And I've heard that good copy also plays nice with Facebook's algorithm. Is that right?
That's a really critical point the sources bring up. Facebook wants to show relevant ads. So if your copy resonates with your audience, if people click it, like it, share it, engage with it.
The algorithm sees that.
Yes. The algorithm sees those positive signals and thinks, okay, this ad is relevant to these people. That improves your ad's relevance score. And a better score can actually lower your advertising costs.
Oh, interesting. So good copy saves you money.
It can, yeah. Lower cost per click, lower cost per conversion.
Sure.
And it helps you get better reach within your target audience. Plus, it's how you actually tell people why you're different, your unique selling points. Why choose you over the other 10 ads they just scrolled past?
Okay, so copy is foundational. Stops the scroll, creates emotion, helps the algorithm, differentiates you. Got it. But where do you even start? You sit down, blank page. What's step one?
The absolute non-negotiable first step. And the sources hammer this home again and again. You have to understand who you're talking to.
Your audience.
Your ideal customer. Your target demographic. Deeply. Everything. The headline, the body text, the call to action, the tone. It all needs to be tailored specifically for them.
Seems obvious when you say it like that, but I bet a lot of advertisers kind of skip that deep dive. They just talk about their product features.
They do. And that's often why the ads just don't land. If you don't get their problems, their dreams, the language they use, how can you connect? The sources mention using Facebook's own tools here, like audience insights.
Right, that aggregates data.
Yeah, anonymized data on demographics, interests, behaviors, and the Facebook pixel, that little bit of code on your website.
Cracks what people do there.
Exactly. Those tools give you invaluable data to build that audience understanding. You have to use that data. It's fundamental.
Okay, so we know why copy is king, and step one is knowing who you're talking to. Let's get practical now.
Yeah.
How do you actually write copy that converts? What are the techniques the sources highlight?
Right, the how-to. Several key elements kept coming up. First, and maybe most important, the headline. It absolutely has to be eye-catching. It's your prime real estate.
Your first impression. Got to make it count.
Totally. The sources suggest things like using emotional triggers, words that evoke excitement, curiosity, relief,
Exciting. Unbelievable.
Sometimes, yeah, if it fits. Creating curiosity is also super powerful. Ask a question, maybe pose a problem, but don't give the answer right away. Make them want to click to find out.
I'll leave them hanging a bit.
Exactly. And the sources mentioned that technique alone creating curiosity can boost your click-through rate by 20% or more in some tests.
20% just for making them curious. Wow. Okay. That's significant.
It really is. Using classic power words can work too. Things like free, new, guaranteed, they still grab attention. And using numbers.
Like 10 tips for, or 5 ways to.
Precisely. Numbers tend to stand out visually in a text-heavy feed. They promise concrete, digestible information.
Can you give us an example? Like, turn a boring headline into a good one.
Sure. Let's say you sell shoes. A basic, feature-focused headline might be, our shoes are made from high-quality materials. Snooze, right? A better approach, focusing on the benefit and maybe some evocative language could be, step into unmatched comfort with our ultra-soft all-day wear shoes. See? It's about the experience.
Much better. Focuses on what I get.
Exactly. Or say you sell candles. Instead of just, our handmade candles are crafted, try something with a benefit and maybe a number. Handmade candles that last 50% longer, shop now.
Punchy. Benefit-driven.
And short and punchy often works best, especially on mobile where people are scrolling fast. Get to the point.
Okay, headline hooks them. What about the main text, the body copy that follows?
So the first few lines of that body copy, their main job is actually really simple. Get the reader to click that See More link.
Ah, okay, so it's not about telling the whole story right away.
Nope. You need another strong hook right there. Continue that curiosity, maybe. Use what they call open loops. Start a thought or a story that feels incomplete.
So they have to click to get the payoff.
You got it. And those opening lines must connect directly to the audience's pain points or their desires. They need to read that and immediately think, okay, this person gets me, this ad is relevant.
Show you understand their world, their problem.
Yes. And the absolute core principle for all body copy, stressed in every source, focus on the benefit, not just the feature.
We talked about this with the shoes example.
Right. People don't buy features, they buy what the features do for them. They don't care about your coffee maker's thermoflow system. They care about getting delicious hot coffee fast before work. Focus on how it improves their life.
Like that HelloFresh example you shared from the sources.
Perfect illustration. Instead of listing ingredients, that's futures, they say. Dinner solved. Skip grocery lines and enjoy fresh, easy meals at home.
Addresses the pain point, dinner stress, grocery shopping. Offers the benefit, easy, fresh meals. Simple.
Bingo. Keep the language clear, concise, easy to scan. Some sources literally say write like you're talking to a fifth grader.
Not because they're dumb, but because attention spans online are short.
Exactly. People skim, especially on mobile. Avoid jargon they won't understand. Use short sentences. Use white space paragraph breaks. Make it easy on the eyes.
Okay, makes sense. What about building trust? Does copy play a role there too?
Huge role. Leveraging social proof is key. The sources all agree on this. You need to weave in things like customer testimonials.
Real quotes from happy customers.
Yes, and choose good ones specific, believable. If you can use their name, maybe even a picture, that adds a ton of credibility.
Makes it feel more real.
Definitely. Also, user-generated content, or UGC, that's gold. Photos, videos from actual customers using your product in a real life. It feels so authentic.
It's like a recommendation from a friend almost.
Exactly. And for some businesses, especially services or B2B, case studies work really well. Show how you solved a specific problem for a client, ideally with data like before and after results.
Yeah.
People trust proof.
Okay, so you've hooked them, explained the benefit, built some trust with social proof. Now you need them to actually do something.
Yes. The call to action, the CTA. Your ad absolutely has to end with a clear, direct instruction. Tell them exactly what you want them to do next. Don't be vague.
So not just click here.
Be more specific if you can. Use strong action verbs. Shop now, sign up today, download your free guide, learn more, whatever the logical next step is. Make the button stand out visually too.
And maybe add some urgency?
Yeah, that can work really well. Create a sense of urgency or scarcity if it's genuine. Shop now and get 20% off, or claim your free trial today, or maybe emphasize the value, get instant access.
Like that Airbnb example you mentioned. Plan your next adventure, book your dream stay today. Action, benefit, clear next step.
Exactly. You nail these elements: headline, body benefit, social proof, CTA, and you're well on your way to better conversions. But, and it's a big but.
Yes. The other shoe drops.
Yeah.
Even great copy can get you in trouble, right? The compliance maze. This feels like where the real headaches start for people.
It really does. Because you can write the most persuasive copy ever, but if Facebook's system flags it, it's dead in the water. Understanding their advertising policies is non-negotiable. Not just to avoid rejection, but to keep your whole ad account safe.
Protect your account from getting shut down.
Right. And the policies are broad. They cover prohibited content stuff that's misleading, offensive, illegal. They cover tone, how you target certain groups, disclosures for paid posts. Following the official rules is step one.
But then there's this whole other layer people talk about. These specific words that seem to trigger problems even if they feel harmless. The so-called banned or trigger words. Is that a real thing? Is there a secret list?
Okay, this is probably one of the biggest points of frustration we saw in the user forums and expert discussions. Officially, no, Facebook doesn't publish a giant list of forbidden words. But based on tons of user reports and expert analysis, it's clear that certain words and phrases do tend to trigger stricter reviews, either automated or manual, and that can lead to ads being rejected or having their reach throttled, what people call being shadow banned.
Even if the word seems normal.
Yes. Now, context is huge. How the word is used matters a lot, but some words just seem inherently riskier, more likely to raise a flag.
Okay, let's get into it. What kinds of words are we talking about based on what these sources and user reports are saying?
One big category revolves around words related to sensitive personal attributes or situations, especially anything that sounds like you're assuming something negative about the user or calling out a personal struggle too directly.
Like what?
Believe it or not, words like you, your, to, for you can apparently be problematic.
Wait, the word you? How can you write an ad without using you?
I know, it sounds crazy, but the thinking, based on reports, is that Facebook dislikes ads that feel overly personal in a negative way, like they're pointing a finger at the user's flaws or problems. It's less about the word itself and more about how it's used to diagnose or assume something about the person seeing the ad.
So maybe instead of saying, "Are you struggling with back pain?"
Exactly. That feels very direct, potentially intrusive. The safer approach suggested is often more general, focusing on the solution, like discover tips for managing back pain or learn about exercises for a healthier back.
Shift from diagnosing their problem to offering general information or solution.
Precisely. The sources gave that weight loss example too. Bad. Would you like to lose 30 pounds? Too direct assumes desire need. Good. Learn about weight loss tips offers information. It's subtle, but seemingly important for the algorithm.
Okay, that's a really key distinction. What other word categories cause trouble?
Finance words are definitely tricky, especially if they promise outcomes or touch on sensitive areas. Terms like loans, mortgage, credit, debt, borrow, investment, currency, tax, even passport in some ad contexts. These often trigger scrutiny.
So advertising, say, a loan service needs very careful wording.
Extremely careful. Anything that sounds like a guarantee or preys on financial vulnerability is high risk. Same goes for health and medical terms.
Right, you mentioned that, like specific diseases.
Yeah, mentioning specific diseases, body parts in a negative context, symptoms like pain, specific treatments, or even supplements like vitamins, omega-3, if you make specific health claims about them, that's all likely to get flagged for review. You can talk about wellness generally, but getting specific about conditions or cures is risky.
It feels like anything implying a specific health condition or a guaranteed fix is basically off limits.
That seems to be the safest assumption. And of course, anything related to sensitive categories like race, religion, ethnicity, sexual orientation, politics needs incredibly careful handling to comply with non-discrimination policies. Plus the obvious stuff: no hate speech, violence, weapons, drugs, illegal products.
Okay, those make a certain kind of sense, even if the lines get blurry.
Right.
But what about just normal sales words? People reported issues with those too.
Yes. And this is where a lot of the frustration comes in, based on the sources. Common marketing terms that create urgency or announce a promotion can get flagged as overly aggressive, spammy, or making potentially misleading claims.
Like what kind of words?
Things like buy, order, discount, sale, % off, win, giveaway, free, limited time, ending soon, today only, while supplies last.
But how do you run a sale? How do you tell people it's a limited time offer without saying limited time or sale? That seems impossible.
That's the million-dollar question. Users report these standard terms get ads rejected all the time, depending on context and maybe even the specific reviewer. It forces advertisers to be really creative. Instead of 50% off sale, maybe it's save big this week or special pricing ends Friday. It's about implying it without using the trigger words.
Wow. That requires some linguistic gymnastics. And it sounds like it's not always consistent.
That's a major complaint in consistency. What gets flagged one day might pass the next, or vice versa. It feels like guesswork sometimes.
Any other quick flags? Like formatting?
Yeah, a couple mentioned consistently using excessive all caps, that looks like shouting, seen as aggressive.
Okay, easy enough to avoid.
And using too many emojis or symbols can look spammy to the system. Keep it clean.
And definitely no outrageous claims, right?
Absolutely not. Anything that sounds too good to be true, implies 100% guarantees, or promises dramatic, unrealistic results. Lose 50 pounds in 30 days, or guaranteed cure? Forget it. That's misleading advertising, straight up.
Man, it really does sound like a minefield. I can absolutely see why some users in those forums felt like it was, heavy censorship or the death of free speech for marketing.
That frustration is palpable in the discussions, definitely. And it's important to reiterate, this list of troublesome words comes from shared advertiser experiences, not an official Facebook manual. It's people trying to decode a complex, sometimes opaque system.
Gotcha. And quickly, visually, anything crucial for compliance besides the words?
Yeah, just a reminder on images. The old super strict 20% text rule isn't a hard block anymore, but sources still say minimizing text directly on the image is best practice for reach. Keep images high quality, relevant to the copy, and compliant with content rules, no shocking stuff, appropriate for the audience. Showing diversity is also generally a good idea.
Okay, so let's say you've done all that. You wrote killer copy using the right techniques. You carefully navigated the compliance minefield, avoided the trigger words, but your ads still aren't hitting those top conversion numbers. What now?
Right. Because writing the ad is just the start. Now comes the crucial part. Ongoing testing and optimization. You can't just set it and forget it.
Got to see what's actually working.
Exactly. The sources are unanimous on this. A/B testing is essential. You have to compare different versions of your ad to see what performs better.
Version A versus version B.
Precisely. Show A to one segment of your audience, B to another, same targeting, same budget allocation, and measure the results. But the golden rule, stressed everywhere. Test one thing at a time.
Only change one element.
Yes. Only change the headline between A and B, or only change the image, or only change the call to action button text. You change multiple things and B performs better. You have no idea which change actually made the difference.
That makes perfect sense. How long should you run a test?
It depends on volume, but the suggestions range from maybe 3 to 5 days if you have a decent budget and audience size, up to a couple of weeks if volume is lower. You need enough data to be statistically confident. Start with a small test budget, maybe $10, $20 a day per version, see what the early data says.
And what are you measuring? What tells you if A or B won?
Depends completely on your campaign goal. If you just want clicks and traffic, look at click-through rate, CTR, what percentage clicked, and cost per click, CPC, how much each click costs. Lower CPC and higher CTR is usually better there.
Okay. And if the goal is sales or leads?
Then the big ones are conversion rate, what percentage of clickers actually bought or signed up, and return on ad spend, ROAS, for every dollar you spent, how much revenue did you get back? Higher conversion rate, higher ROAS means that version was more effective at driving the real goal. Analyzing these metrics tells you which copy actually worked.
The sources also mention some common mistakes people make, things to avoid besides just not testing.
Yeah, a few key ones popped up. Making the message too complicated, using jargon, forgetting most people are on mobile needs to be short, scannable, not having proper tracking set up, like the pixel flying blind, bad targeting, great copy won't work on the wrong audience, weak headlines or CTAs we covered, why those are critical. And yeah, the big one, just never testing or iterating.
Okay. Now, there was one more concept in the sources that felt deeper, more strategic. This idea of customer awareness levels. How does that fit into writing copy?
Oh, yes. This is such a powerful framework. Maybe one of the most insightful things for structuring your messaging. The basic idea is simple. Not everyone seeing your ad is at the same stage of readiness to buy.
They're all on a different part of the journey.
Exactly. They have different levels of awareness about their problem, about potential solutions, and about your specific product. And you absolutely cannot use the same message for everyone.
So you need different ads for different awareness levels.
Ideally, yes, or at least structure your copy understanding where the majority of your targeted audience likely sits. The sources typically break it down into a spectrum. First, you have people who are totally unaware.
Don't even know they have a problem.
Right. They don't recognize the need your product solves. For them, your ad copy can't be about selling. It needs to educate, entertain, maybe highlight the problem in an interesting way, or talk about a related topic to draw them in. You're building awareness of the problem itself.
Okay, then they become problem aware.
Now they feel the pain. They know they have an issue, but they don't know there are solutions out there or what they might be. Your copy here needs to empathize with that pain, agitate it slightly perhaps, and introduce the idea that solutions exist.
There's a better way. Kind of thing.
Exactly. Next up is solution aware.
They know solutions exist, but not necessarily yours.
Correct. They're maybe researching different types of solutions. Should I use software for this or hire someone? Your copy now needs to show why your category of solution is the best approach, build trust, maybe offer proof, or lower commitment next step like a guide or webinar.
Getting closer. Product aware.
Now they know about you, your specific product or brand. Maybe they visited your site, seen other ads. They're comparing you to competitors. Copy here needs to highlight your unique benefits, overcome objections, use strong social proof like testimonials or case studies, show why you are the best choice among the options.
And the final stage.
Very aware. This is your warmest audience. They know the problem, no solutions exist, know your product, trust you. They're basically ready to buy. Your copy can be much more direct here. Focus on the offer, the final incentive, maybe use urgency or scarcity to get them to act now. Limited spots left. Get 20% off today only.
Wow, thinking about copy through that lens, where's my audience on this awareness journey? That seems like it could completely change your approach.
It absolutely should. It moves you from just shouting generic messages to having tailored conversations. You meet people where they are. It dramatically increases your chances of resonating and actually guiding them to the next step.
Okay, so pulling this all together then, crafting Facebook ad copy that really works, that converts and stays compliant. It's clearly not just about being a clever writer.
Not even close. It's this dynamic balancing act, isn't it? You need the creativity, sure, to grab attention, make that emotional connection. You need to understand psychology, what makes people tick. You absolutely have to navigate those platform rules, which are tricky and, yeah, sometimes feel arbitrary. Being super mindful of those potential trigger words we talked about.
Even the normal sounding ones.
Especially those sometimes. And then critically, you need that discipline for constant testing, looking at the data, iterating, learning what works for your audience with your offer.
It's like you need to write words that connect deeply with a human, but also speak a language that the algorithm understands and doesn't penalize.
Exactly. And you have to stay on your toes because the algorithm changes, the policies get updated, what worked last month might get flagged this month. It's constant vigilance.
Which really leaves us with a big question to ponder, doesn't it? As you think about your next Facebook ad campaign, the challenge is, how do you write copy that feels genuinely human, that connects with real needs and desires, that motivates action, but also successfully navigates this incredibly complex, often opaque, sometimes frustrating rule book enforced by a machine?
That's the tightrope, isn't it? Being human-centric while speaking fluent algorithmese.